My first memory was almost like when you're dreaming and you're falling and you hit the bottom and you wake up.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first memory, but I didn't wake up here. I was inside my mother's womb. You go to sleep, you wake up again. Then ultimately you get ready to come out. I remember all of that.
You remember coming out?
Remember being compressed. I remember being born. I remember being circumcised. I remember the whole nine.
All these thoughts are from the time you were a baby.
From before that time, because I remembered that I had been someplace else before. Now what's interesting, that voice that I heard, that's my voice now. And I went off and became an actor because my mother wanted my little brother to be an actor. And I thought if I became an actor, I would get my mother's affection. And he was like, no, each element is the same element and it will always be that element. And I was like, you don't see the relationship. So I left school and I was going to spend 40 years rebuilding the periodic table. And I found out that Walter Russell had already did that, in that base. If you were to take the angles of incidence, or the tones that they create, their color. Like you can turn color back into sound based upon, it's the same wavelength, it's just twice as long or much longer. So all you have to do is keep dividing light by 2. So those things don't really exist. It's only one substance. Now the problem is, the first thing that we're able to perceive is hydrogen. That's the first visible element, and they call that a bisexual tone. And the other 4 senses started speaking among themselves, and they came to the conclusion that there must be something the matter with the eye. Our eyes see 0.05% of the entire electromagnetic wave. We're blind cosmically. Mm-hmm. And they've done that with science for so many years. You look at E = mc squared. That talks about expansion. It does not show how it's divided. You've never breathed in twice without breathing out, because they were misled by Newton, who said everything moves in a straight line unless affected by something else. And we know that not to be true. Like Alan Watts said, no one would be attracted to a Euclidean woman because she would just be straight. So you're supposed to have 2 exact bars 6 inches out and leave one outside of the freezer, and put one in the freezer. So A over X is equal to R times B over X. R is the result or the change between them. B is the change that occurs. R is what fraction or the X that you use in order to get back to A or to convert it to B. It's a pitch. Collective pitch. So this is the end of cranes.
Oh.
This is So I was trying to reach out to Elon Musk. I was trying to reach out to Jeff Bezos.
But if you ever watch one of those motion
Secret
capture,
Life of Plants.
Yeah, plants are moving and touching each other, and that it's flying through space, and it's
inanimate.
Collects via gravity, and the more mass, the more gravity.
It's supposed to, but take a balloon. Another thing that kills gravity. You take a balloon, you rub it on your leg.
Mm.
The dividing force is the radiative force, the magnetic field. It ablates and pushes everything out, and then they collect together again. But where these things meet, at the proper angles of incidence, when it converts it back into electricity, and it will keep collecting and coming and making life. The planet isn't a dead thing. It's alive. And it's screaming. It thought we were going to be beneficial to it. And now it's trying to kill us. You want to know what my first patent was? The entire AR, VR world was built off of my first patent that was abandoned because I paid $260,000 for the worldwide patent. But then my agents my lawyers kept sending me these maintenance fees and annuities. And I'm like, these folks are just trying to shake me down. I'm not going to pay this. Well, a year later, I want you to see where your AR/VR world came from. On it, oh, that's how it came over to you. Well, let's see which one this is. Pick up a barrel.
And of course, you're going to get ridiculed.
But no, they still wouldn't accept it
It's too
because
hard.
it challenges their entire last 5,000 years
Yeah.
of knowledge because they opened up the flower of life incorrectly. They invented straight lines where even God can't make a straight line. There's over 130 something thousand years worth of water damage under the Sphinx itself.
Where do you get that?
You can look it up on.
Well, like most people say, the physical challenges, like those would be interesting to me. But man, I can't eat bugs. I can't do that. A lot of that's in your head. Like I ate a roach. It was nothing.
I ate a cicada.
I ate a cicadas are actually good. And you can eat them. They're delicious.
A great source
apparently.
of protein.
Yeah, they're a great source of protein. People got to get past the idea of eating bugs.
Yeah, but it's at the end of the day, there's a certain amount of self-respect that comes up to it. Like if I'm forced to eat a slug or something of that nature, no, that's why we put on clothes. And I think being
strange.
on television is the worst thing that has ever happened. I feel like an emotional whore. And I'm just turning tricks for Johns. They'll do a gangbang with their buddies. Literally and figuratively.
Always. You're always going to get pimps.
Look at
So you think this is happening
everywhere.
everywhere?
Everywhere, because everything is alive. Alan Watts said you'll see apples occurring at this time. They'll say that the tree is appling. Well, what happens with the planets? Oh, it's peopling.
Whoa.
The crystallization changes. We call it a different element, but it's the same substance. Like my hand is one substance, but if I do it like this and do it like this and do it like this, it looks like a whole different thing. And they can call it a different element, but it's the same element under different motion and pressure conditions. We don't have a solid core. There's just a bubble.
So
Yeah.
Earth 1 was a planet that was hit by a planet. And that's how our moon was established.
When have we seen that happen in nature?
Well, we haven't seen it yet, right? But these things take a long ass time, and we don't have a whole lot of ability to see things.
Multiply that gun, we get more energy out of it than we put in, which physics says is impossible. And they gave me the patents to it. But nobody wants to have a conversation.